dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
Good evening, race fans. Welcome to the Sim Racers Edge Alpha Series. Today we are going to be at Pocono. Thank you for being here tonight on the ESPN Network, a sim racing media company. My name is Jonathan Leach. Typically I have Tony here with me, but Tony had surgery today. It's going to be a one-man show. Qualifying just about to get underway. Multiple drivers out on track at this time. I'm unable to cover qualifying accurately at the moment here. I'm going to leave it on screen to allow you guys to see our drivers. I will be right back personally. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the patience. I'm back now here with you as qualifying's underway. Currently on the pole is Chris Simard, best time around Pocono, the Tricky Triangle, 41.98. Ronnie Osmer is P2 with 42.03, and Ernie Ludwig was third, now fourth. Chad Simpson fastest by 300ths of a second. Moved Chad Simpson to the pole with only 2 minutes of qualifying left. Following Chad Simpson around the track at this time, can he increase on that lap time, and can it be better? So Tricky Triangle, typically this track you're used to seeing this on the NASCAR circuit, but here we are in the IndyCar Indy style cars. This is going to be a lot of fun. This is going to be a first for me. I enjoy watching this track in the Cup cars, the trucks, Xfinity cars, but now I get to see it in the IndyCar machines. Much, much faster machine, and Chad Simpson's not going to increase on the last time. With a minute and 24 seconds left in qualifying, time to go over today's race information. This is the Sim Racer's Edge, round 11 at Pocono Raceway. It's 76 degrees outside, partly cloudy, 2 miles an hour for the winds. The track length at Pocono is 2.5 miles. Track temperature tonight is 93 degrees. The altitude is actually 1,866 feet above sea level. And the racetrack is in Long Pound, Pennsylvania. Qualifying just about over. A few drivers still on track. Tim Bates just posted a time. Move him up to 5th. Butch Davis just posted a time of 42 flat. He is up to 4th. Only 100th separating 4th and 5th place. And from 1st to 10th, less than 6/10. Less than 600 separates 1st to 10th place on the board. I think we're going to see a lot of close racing tonight. I think this is going to be a blast. And the good news is, this is going to be a long race, but there's going to be plenty of action, plenty of things for me to call, plenty of things for me to talk about. At some point in the race, we're going to go over the current standings coming into the race. It's not too tight past the top 3. Chris Simard, currently, I believe, I'll pull it up real fast, is currently leading the series right now, but it's relatively tight up top. Right here you can see, Chad Simpson with 309 points, Chris Simard at 281, but we'll go over that a little more here shortly. Right now we're getting into the warm-up session. That being said, I'm going to do something a little bit different. This is more of a sim racing media tactic, and for those that do not know, sim racing media has integrated ESPN now to our platform as well. ESPN bringing numerous great shows and great commentary, Tony being one of them. I'm going to miss him tonight. He's always exhilarant, excellent in the booth, always knows what to say next. Should be a lot of fun. I see another familiar name potentially in this race, and I'll be sure to bring him up as we get the opportunities. But that being said, I'm going to step away. We're going to turn it up, let you guys listen to these machines as they go around during the warm-up period. We'll be right back. Back with you now. As the drivers are gridding up, this is going to be an excellent race. It's going to be 120 laps around the tricky triangle. I'm going to go ahead and bring up the grid. Starting on the pole today is going to be Chad Simpson, Jeffrey Roulette to his outside. That's going to be row number 1. With row number 2 belonging to Chris Simard and Butch Davis. Tim Bates brings in the 5th place position with Chris Walker 6th to his outside. Ronnie Osmer 7th with Dan Brasington starting 8th. Ernie Ludwig and Dave Lottle 9th and 11th. Yari Brewpatcher, I'm sorry if I'm get that wrong. I don't have Tony to fix it for me today. 11th. Michael Sturgill Jr. to his outside will be starting 12th. 13th belongs to Michael Bourne and Dale Weiser is 14th. Raul Alvarez, 15th, with Mark Maffaden 16th. 17th belongs to Kevin O'Brien, and Shane Loveridge is 18th. Sam Cooper Bennett, what a surprise, is going to round out the field 19th. For those of you who don't recognize that name, used to be one heck of a voice here for the ESPN network. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch him out on track. I heard some grumblings that he would be racing with these guys in the near future, and here he is today. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch him come from the back. 19 drivers here today for the Tricky Triangle. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to a good one. As these drivers start getting lined up and getting ready to go, we're going to have Chad Simpson, Jeffrey Roulette on the front row with Chris Simard and Butch Davis 4th. Should be an exciting 120 laps. I think there's going to be action throughout the entire race. Here comes the pace car. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime. Chad Simpson is on the gas. Jeffrey Roulette does not get the start that he wants. Chris Simard all over the back bumper of Chad Simpson. These guys are going to fan out 2, 3 wide. Coming into turn number 1, Chad Simpson leads the way. Chris Simard right there. Jeffrey Roulette trying to hang on to the 3rd place position as he's under fire from Tim Bates and Butch Davis. Side by side for 4th. These drivers have a lot more downforce than the Cup cars, the Xfinity cars, and the trucks. You're going to see a lot of movement with these drivers throughout this race. High, low, in the middle, 2 wide, 3 wide. It's going to be a lot of action for this one. Battle for the lead now. Jeffrey Roulette really worked hard to get back to the lead here. He's going to trying to power down the low side to get by Chad Simpson. Not quite going to work. Chad Simpson's going to lead lap number 1. Single file for the front 5 coming into turn number 1 as that just changed right there. Roulette making a move once again to the low side of Chad Simpson. Can he slide up in front of him? Yes, he can. Simpson's going to have to get on the brakes, but here comes the crossover move. It's only lap 2. No shortage of action here for the Sim Racers Edge group at Pocono Speedway. Top 5 as they run. Currently, Chad Simpson, Jeffrey Roulette back and forth. Chris Simard 3rd. Butch Davis is 4th. Chris Walker in the number 23 machine creeping into the top 5 as well. Got ourselves a battle for the 8th place position between Dan Brasington and I believe that's the number 90 of Michael Sturgill Jr. Side by side, Dan Brasington has the position. They're going to now be single file. Big move a little bit further back here. That green machine that I believe is of Shane Loveridge. Quite a wiggle. Held on to it. A little bit further in front of them as, never mind, the caution is out. I'm showing that something might have happened to Chris Walker. Holy moly, he is missing half his race car. Let's see what happened. Holy cow. Oh, and then just gets clobbered from sliding back up the track. Let's watch that from a slightly different angle here. Back it up a little bit more. See what happened. Did he possibly just get into the wall? Focusing on Chris Walker in the white and purple machine. Taps the wall. Sends him straight head first into that safer barrier. Comes up the track. Ends up getting a piece of, I think, Leverage got a piece of him right there. No, it was not Leverage that got him. That would have been Kevin O'Brien that got just a little bit of a piece of him. All right, 3 laps in, and you see what's remaining of the machine, that number 23 machine here for Chris Walker. And if I remember correctly, these drivers do not have fast repairs. I'm going to assume that this machine might be done for the count, or down for the count. Meanwhile, back up front, Chad Simpson still retains the lead over Jeffrey Roulette, with Butch Davis third, Chris Simard fourth, Ronnie Osmer rounds out the top 5. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at where Sam Cooper Bennett's running. White and black machine right here, number 5. Now, so Sam Cooper Bennett will do a little bit of talking. Used to be one heck of a voice here for ESPN. In fact, he's basically responsible for all of ESPN up to this point. Decided to step away to enjoy some more racing in personal life. It's great to see him racing right here. We might see him make a couple cameo appearances in a couple months down the line. But without Sam Cooper Bennett, ESPN would not exist. We're going to be watching him to see how he does. I know he really enjoys the Delaris here on iRacing, and look forward to seeing his drive to the front. And ladies and gentlemen, please forgive me when there's a few lull moments during this race. I'm in the booth alone again. Tony, who's normally here, great color commentator for the Sim Racers Edge series. Really, every series brought to you by ESPN that he's on. He does an excellent job. He had surgery today. He is out for today. We might see him back tomorrow night for the DOB Dirt series, but I'm not going to hold my breath. He's going to have to recover a little bit, and then he'll get back in this booth. I expect to see him back here by next Wednesday. And so, Tony, thoughts and prayers are with you. I hope everything's gone well, and I'm sure these drivers and fans that are listening tonight wish you well as well. And I want to thank everybody that's currently watching the Sim Racers Edge series here on YouTube on the ESPN network. Without you guys, we wouldn't be here. Without you guys, we wouldn't need to be talking. We have a lot of fun. These drivers enjoy seeing friends and family follow them and watch them as well. And I got a correction on Mark McFadden. It's not McFadden. Apparently it is pronounced McFadden. I believe that's correct based on what I'm seeing in the chat. My mistake. So here in a couple moments, we're going to rack these cars back up, get ready to do this one more time. The running order is going to be Jeffrey Roulette now out front. Chad Simpson second. Butch Davis will be rolling off third. Fourth will be Chris Simard. Ronnie Osmer is fifth. Tim Bates is sixth. Michael Sturgill Jr. is going to restart in the 7th position. Dale Weiser 8th. Sam Cooper Bennett already up to 9th. Dan Brasington's going to restart 10th. 11th is going to be Dave Lottle and Ernie Ludwig 12th. Raul Alvarez 13th. 14th will be Mark McFadden. Yari Brupacher. If anybody knows how to pronounce his name, go ahead and tell me in the YouTube. Again, Tony normally corrects me when I butcher names, but he's not here tonight, so I don't have the help. So here we go. Waiting for the pace car to come in. Pace car comes in. Jeffrey Roulette's going to be on the button. Here he goes. He's on the throttle. He's going to cross the line. P1. Does anybody have anything for Jeffrey Roulette going into turn number 1? Chad Simpson. Holy cow, we've got cars around prior to the start-finish line. Multiple drivers involved. I'm showing Dave Lottle involved. Let's see what happened here. It's almost like he had a really good run right there. Either that or potentially the 26 of not Ernie Ludwig, excuse me. Is that the 88? The 89? Try to get a better angle right here. So here's Dave Lottle from the high-speed drone. That's the number 29 machine of Dan Brasington. Okay, so it's almost like he checked up just a little bit here, and Dave Lottle did not do so quite quick enough. Kind of ran into the back of him, as you'll see right here. And when that happened, it just sent him around. And that's not all who was caught up in that. It wasn't just Dave Lottle. One more time here, because the white machine right behind him is who tapped Lottle. So damage for multiple machines, not just one. All happening before the start-finish line right here. And that's going to be Ernie Ludwig who ends up getting a little damage right there as well. Damage to the front nose of his number 26 machine. High-speed track, a lot can happen on these restarts. The restarts are going to be the best time for earning positions, in my opinion. Again, I'm not a IndyCar driver. I don't really drive the Delaras, but I do know Pocono. And every other machine that I've driven in, restarts is where you make your money. That's where you're going to get your guys, because once these guys start to fan out, passing starts becoming quite a bit more difficult. But really, it looked like a car on the outside just didn't get the best restart. And we saw Dan Brasington and Dave Lottle try to jump to the inside. Dan Brasington's slight checkup. Lottle was not able to stop in time, and I imagine it's because he was trying not to pass that car that was slow to the outside prior to the start-finish line. It's a little bit of a bad break for Dave Lottle and Dan Brasington, as well as Ludwig. And Ernie Ludwig in the number 26 machine. He's back on track now. I don't think he's going to be too beat up. I think he's going to be okay. And Ernie logged in out of Marsden, California. Currently running P15. 9 laps out of 120 complete here at Pocono for the Sim Racers Edge Series. While we're under caution, I'm going to step away for a brief moment. I'll be right back to bring you the green. Apologize about the short break, ladies and gentlemen, but again, since I am here alone, I need to be able to take small breaks. Anyway, after the carnage of that caution right there, we're resetting the field. Jeffrey Roulette, Chad Simpson, Butch Davis, Chris Samard, Ronnie Osmer will be your top 5. Expecting the pace car to turn left, hard left right here. Jeffrey Roulette's on the button again. It's showtime, back under green here at Pocono Raceway for the Sim Racers Edge series. Jeffrey Roulette gets a great restart. Chad Simpson, Butch Davis follow suit. Who's going to be making the move? I see 2 wide mid-pack, 2 wide for the lead. Chad Simpson making a move. He's going to power down to the inside, get around Jeffrey Roulette. Made it look easy. New leader, number 42. A lot of motion a little bit further into the pack towards the rear of the field. 13th, Yari. Number 89 of Yari, because I can't get his name right. Dan Bradsington back there as well, the number 29. Shane Loveridge and Kevin O'Brien. Multiple names that are used to being more up front in the field. Big move right there by the white machine of Kevin O'Brien. That's number 84. Made it stick. A little bit further back to the front, we've got a gaggle. The top 5 all battling for first. Butch Davis now has the position over Chad Simpson and Jeffrey Roulette. Right behind them is Chris Samard. Ronnie Osmer is there as well. Fast-paced driving, a lot of downforce. I imagine these drivers don't have to brake too much to get around this track. Quite the difference from the NASCAR-style machines. And you know, the way Tony says it, this car's lower to the ground, has a bigger tire with more horsepower, and a much bigger wing in the back, creating a lot more downforce. So I imagine these guys could pretty much just pedal to the metal around this track, make sure you get your entry right, which makes this a lot of fun. Still got a battle for the lead between Butch Davis and Chad Simpson. Butch Davis with a huge run to the inside coming into turn number 2. In fact, he's going to clear him right before hitting turn number 2. Both drivers full throttle coming out. Chad Simpson with a slight advantage coming into turn 3. Here comes the crossover move side by side, and the caution is out once again. Showing multiple drivers. I believe Michael Sturgill Jr. involved. Tim Bates involved. Let's see what happened to both of them. Michael Sturgill Jr. slow on track. He's missing a right front tire. I'm assuming some real stuff happened right there. Bent wing as well. Tim Bates, another damaged machine. Let's see what happened from Michael Sturgill Jr.'s perspective. Let's go ahead and back it up and see what happened, folks. Holy moly, nearly airborne it looks like. Back it up a little bit more here. Get a little bit closer here with Michael Sturgill Jr. Let's see what happened. Huge run into turn number 2, a little bit high. In fact, that's what happened. We got a loose machine. I believe that was Tim Bates in front of him got loosed. Michael Sturgill Jr. tried to avoid him because you could see Tim Bates get loose right there in front of him, and Tim Bates ends up into the wall right here. Sturgill tries to avoid it. Ends up hitting the wall himself, really wrecking his machine. Tim Bates hits the inside barrier. Real heads-up racing from all the drivers behind them to avoid any potential carnage, as I just saw a tire flying down the backstretch right here. Let's watch this one more time, let you folks see that tire screaming down as well. Oh, man, he took another hit. I didn't even see that hit. Oh, that's incredible. And there's that tire rolling down. You saw the top left of the screen right there. One more time. Let's see who else got involved here. And he just gets drilled right here. I think that's the number 22. That's Mark McFadden. Just clobbers Michael Sturgill Jr. We're going to back this up one more time. I want to watch this from the perspective of McFadden. So McFadden coming through the high-speed turn number 2. Sees some stuff going in front of him. Picks the wrong line and just takes out Michael Sturgill Jr. and really messes up his left front as well. 3 drivers suffered damage under this caution. That was quite the wreck right there. Lap 15 of 120 complete. 3 cautions to date already. Butch Davis out front, Chad Simpson, Jeffrey Roulette, Dan Brasington, number 89 machine of Yari Brewpatcher is 5th. I will be right back. All right, ladies and gentlemen, pace car about to come off the field. Butch Davis leads the field. Chad Simpson P2. 3rd is Jeffrey Roulette. Dan Brasington in 4th. Yari Brewpatcher is 5th. 6th belongs to Ernie Ludwig, who had trouble earlier. Michael Bourne is 7th. 8th is Ronnie Osmer. Chris Simard is 9th. Dale Weiser 10th. Butch Davis is going to be the go car any moment now. Coming out of turn 3, the pace machine is going to make that hard left turn down the long front stretch pit lane, and we're going to be back under green here at Pocono for the Alpha Sim Racers Edge Series. See drivers hugging that outside wall coming out of the corner. Here comes the pace car. Showtime, ladies and gentlemen. Butch Davis on the gas. Green flag is waving. The flagman is having a blast. His arm is going to need to be iced after this race. 2 wide coming into turn number 1. Butch Davis, Chad Simpson. Chad Simpson to the inside. Will he clear Butch Davis on the inside? He will. Butch Davis is going to turn down, fall in line. Now under fire from Jeffrey Roulette coming into turn 2. But here comes Butch Davis with a great run coming into turn number 2. The fast turn, as I like to call it, is going to get back past Chad Simpson. Advantage now, Butch Davis. Simpson with the run out of turn number 2. Gonna be the crossover move coming into turn number 3. Simpson going to just clear Butch Davis, slide up in front of him. I'm thinking Butch Davis lifted, gave him a little bit of room. Butch Davis back to the inside, the long front stretch. But don't look now. Jeffrey Roulette, Dan Brasington, both. This is a battle between 4 drivers for the lead. Butch Davis side by side with Chad Simpson. Butch Davis to the lead. Simpson with the crossover move. Right behind them, Jeffrey Roulette and Dan Brasington side by side. Advantage now, Jeffrey Roulette. Simpson, Davis side by side. Turn 2. Advantage Simpson. Can Butch Davis make the crossover move work that Simpson used last time? Yes, he will attempt it. Here comes Butch Davis all the way down to the yellow line. Puts his tires past it to slide up in front of Simpson. It works for now. Simpson in his wake. Simpson crosses over side by side down the middle of the front stretch. What outstanding racing between the top 4. Side by side, by side, by side. too wide by 2 coming into turn number 1. Simpson now with the lead over Butch Davis. I expect to see the same thing. Here comes Butch Davis making a move once again to the inside through turn number 2, as I want to call it, the fast turn. Here, Butch Davis to the lead. Does Simpson have the run off like we've seen Butch Davis? Yes, he does. Side by side. I apologize about the cameraman. He must have been drinking before the show. Butch Davis with a great job on the outside of turn number 3. Side by side down the front stretch. Butch Davis with a run using that wall to help create a little side draft, make a little more speed. They're going to be side by side coming to turn number 1. Advantage Chad Simpson, but we've seen the driver on the high side get a great run off turn number 1. It sure does happen again. Butch Davis waits until he's right on that rear bumper before pulling out down to the yellow line once again for Butch Davis. All the actions up front for the lead right now between Simpson and Butch Davis. Jeffrey Roulette, Dan Brasington battling for 3rd place right behind those drivers. A little bit further back, you have Ronnie Osmer leading Yari Brewpatcher and Chris Simard. Single file for these 3 drivers. Single file on back with the battle brewing for 10th place. Michael Bourne, Raul Alvarez. Alvarez making the move to the inside, coming in turn number 1. Will it be enough to clear Michael Bourne? No, it will not. They're going to be side by side, and that's going to bring another driver into the mix here. I believe that is Shane Loveridge as well. Kevin O'Brien, Shane Loveridge battling for the 12th place position behind Michael Bourne and Raul Alvarez. Back to the front, this battle still not over. Chad Simpson out front by just over a car length, but a car length isn't enough to keep Butch Davis at bay, especially on this front stretch. Butch Davis going to clear Simpson into turn number 1, but Simpson has the high lane. Butch Davis now with a 2-car length lead. Will that be enough to hang on to the lead now and avoid the crossover? Here comes Simpson once again. It looks like the draft just is everything here. When you're out front, you're having to break through that air, and the draft just seems to be really effective here. Not seeing either one of these drivers get away from the other. Simpson to the low side now. Butch Davis trying the high side through the turn right here. Right back down the front stretch, Simpson with the advantage. Butch Davis doing what he's been doing the last 4 laps. Gets on the bumper, makes that hard left to get in front. Butch Davis to the lead now. Incredible racing. We're going to go on board with Chad Simpson, show you what he sees. Simpson to the point, coming through the fast turn. Coming out of turn 3, right up to the wall. Will Butch Davis make a move? Will we see him from the inside? Let's check it out from the left rear suspension here. Here comes Butch Davis to the inside. Dives down into turn number 1. Simpson's going to turn down. Huge arc. Doesn't quite get down to the yellow line. Huge run for Chad Simpson coming into turn number 2. Crossover move engaged, side by side. Simpson to the point. These drivers just keep going back and forth every lap, every corner. What did I say, folks? Tons of action, even for one man in the booth. For a guy who doesn't drive Indy cars, Dalars, Formula One, or do much of that stuff, I am having a blast here tonight at the Pocono Raceway for the Alpha Sim Racers Edge series, only on the ESPN network. Thanks for following. If you don't follow if you don't follow our YouTube, now's a great time to click subscribe. We appreciate you. It's always a pleasure to bring great racing from the Sim Racers Edge community to you guys. Oh, we had the great battle for the lead. I'm going to turn it up for you folks, let you listen to the sound of these 2 machines. Following Butch Davis, Chad Simpson. I will be right back momentarily. Enjoy this race. As this battle continues to rage on for the lead, Chad Simpson, Butch Davis, neither driver has the advantage. I am now back with you. Lap 29 of 120 complete. What an outstanding race so far. A lot of action. There will be plenty to talk about in the next coming week. I ask myself, how many times can these drivers go back and forth and continue putting on a show between Butch Davis and Chad Simpson? Here they come down pit road. Chad Simpson, Butch Davis, both. Little tire smoke from Butch Davis. Dan Brasington's going to assume the lead. Who's going to come out first? Will it be Butch Davis or Chad Simpson? Neither getting the advantage of the undercut because they come down at the same time. Who's going to come down pit road next? Will it be Brasington? Will it be Osmer? Will it be Chris Simard, Jeffrey Roulette, or Yari Brewpatcher in the top 5? Don't look now. Sam Cooper Bennett up to 6th position. Butch Davis on his way out from pit road. Chad Simpson on his way out from pit road. Both drivers similar links on pit road. An 8.37 second pit stop for Butch Davis. Chad Simpson actually faster, but Butch Davis's overall pit lane time was 0.8 faster. Potentially a little bit of separation now between Butch Davis and Chad Simpson. About 8 car lengths, as it doesn't matter now because we are once again under caution. Back this up for you guys. Let's see what happened here. I believe Michael Bourne was involved. Oh, wow. Michael Bourne and Raul Alvarez. Let's see what happened here. Coming out of the corner. Michael Bourne to the inside. Raul Alvarez hits the wall, and unfortunately, Bourne is just an innocent bystander. Wrong place, wrong time, at the wrong time. At the wrong race. Raul Alvarez clips the wall and ends up taking Michael Bourne with him right there as the flagman once again. Man, he's really getting a workout in on that right arm of his. It's okay to switch it up now, bud. Another brutal wreck here for the Sim Racers Edge series at Pocono Raceway. But a lot of great action, and now some interesting things happen here. Butch Davis, Chad Simpson did not lose a lap, so they're currently scored 10th and 11th, pitting on lap 30 for both of them. Jeffrey Roulette came down pit road when the caution happened, or excuse me, a lap right before, so lap 31. Everybody 8th on forward. They're going to come down pit road. I believe Jeffrey Roulette is going to assume the lead. I can't imagine Butch Davis and Simpson come back down pit road right now. And we're going to get back under green here shortly. All right, this caution is over. Butch Davis and Chad Simpson are going to be leading the field back to green. Coming into turn number 3. In a couple moments, we'll be seeing this pace car turn off. Looking forward to another outstanding green flag run. All right, pace car turns down pit road. We're going to cut the music. Butch Davis on the point. Back under green. Coming to lap 36 of 120 here at Pocono Raceway. Butch Davis and Chad Simpson side by side once again. Jeffrey Roulette, Ronnie Osmer side by side for third behind them. And a battle for fifth between Dan Brasington and Chris Samard. What I say, folks, this racetrack just breeds great racing, especially with high downforce cars. We've got a vehicle in trouble. That's Sam Cooper Bennett, and the green flag is still out. What a hit. Take a quick moment and see what happened right here. Coming into the high-speed turn number 2, just misjudges it, hits that wall, debris all over the track, damaged race car. Really surprised that the yellow flag did not come out for that. He's going to have to limp his machine down pit road, try to get things repaired, and with the yellow not coming out, that is not what he needed. Take our attention back to the lead as Ronnie Osmer is making a move on Jeffrey Roulette coming into turn number, I believe this is turn number 3. Excuse me, turn number 2. Jeffrey Roulette takes P3 away. Chad Simpson leading Butch Davis. That caution, the pit stop where Butch Davis managed to increase his lead to about 10 car lengths. This caution wiped that out. Now Butch Davis is following suit again. I imagine the dance that we saw in the last green flag run is just going to continue here, back and forth between Butch Davis and Chad Simpson. Jeffrey Roulette, however, trying to get involved in this battle, but he's got his hands full with Ronnie Osmer, who's coming back to his inside, coming into turn number 2. Man, I'm talking a little bit too fast for my own good here, folks. Please bear with me on that. Things are happening just so fast. You got to try to keep up with everything. As Sam Cooper Bennett still on pit road, trying to repair his damaged machine. On lap 39 now, side by side, Simpson, Davis, who's it gonna be? Davis out of turn number 1. I expect Simpson to get a monster run coming out of the turn. He sure does. Is he going to try the crossover move? Here it comes into turn number 2, the fast turn. Davis to the high side, Simpson to the inside. Davis looking for the crossover move, coming into turn number 3. He's going to sit behind him in the draft. Gets a huge run into turn 3. Simpson going to go down to the bottom. Davis does not come to the bottom. Now he's under fire from Ronnie Osmer. Not the corner that Butch Davis needed right now. Following in the draft, though. Less than a car length separates all 3 of these drivers right here as Ronnie Osmer goes to the extreme high side. Butch Davis finally takes the lead back. Simpson to the inside of Butch Davis now coming into turn number 2. What a battle, folks, on 40 of 120. A third of the way here now for the Sim Racers Edge series. Having a lot of fun here at Pocono. Special shout out to my counterpart James Riles, currently streaming the Pony Express series right now. Excellent road racing going on over there. Those drivers are at the Snetterton Circuit Endurance for Amateur series. Looks like a pretty tricky track, but it's definitely, in my opinion, not as fun as the tricky triangle, especially when Butch Davis and Chad Simpson are back and forth, dancing within every corner. Who's it gonna be? I expect we're gonna see this all night long, and we could see multiple changes for the lead on the last lap here between any of these drivers out front. Looking forward to an excellent ending as we're following Chris Simard now. Just got around Dan Brasington for 5th. I'm not certain that this battle is over, but Simard has Jeffrey Roulette in front of him. Roulette comes down to the yellow line. Simard runs more of the middle. Simard likely to get a really great run out of turn number 2. He sure does. He's going to look to the high side again. Jeffrey Roulette back down to the yellow line. Simard with an excellent run off turn number 3, side by side down the front stretch. Will Simard clear him prior to turn number 1? Looks just clear. Going to slide up right in front of him. Coming into turn number 1, Simard move him up to 4th. Sam Cooper Bennett coming back down pit road. Good to see that he got back out on track, limping that machine around. Hopefully he can get it repaired. Simpson, Davis, has anything changed? Only that Ronnie Osmer is in the conversation now. Can Ronnie Osmer make a move? Will he take these guys 3 wide for a shot at the lead? Or is he waiting for these 2 drivers to touch where he can just be in the catbird seat? Maybe he's laying back just a little bit in that royal blue number 98 machine. That is such a gorgeous race car. Simpson with about a 2-car length lead, but we can see that gap close quickly as Butch Davis, another turn to the left. Hard left for Butch Davis into turn number 2. He's going to clear Simpson, both down to the yellow line. Davis and Simpson both drive back up to the wall. Simpson gets back in the draft, and just another huge run right here. Coming in, just every time these cars get into the draft of the car in front of them, you just can't get away from them. And it must be because these cars just are not cutting through the air well enough when they're the lead car. I find it really strange. I look forward to asking these drivers post-race what it was like out front as opposed to being behind the leader on this racing surface. That being said, let's go ahead and take a look at the current weather on track. Track temperature 98 degrees, air temperature still 77. Not much has changed since prior to the drop of the green flag. Chad Simpson out of Frisco, Texas, in a lockstep battle with Butch Davis. Butch Davis out of Elmer, New Jersey. These guys couldn't be further apart, but here they are battling for the lead side by side. What an excellent battle. Ronnie Osmer still lying in wait for either one of these drivers to make a mistake, one to check up. Any slight error between the top 2, Ronnie Osmer can steal that position away. Simard now pulling away from Jeffrey Roulette in this battle for 5th between Yari Brewpatcher and Dan Brasington. Another excellent battle. These guys just can't seem to get away from each other in general. Nature of these machines must keep everybody together in small bunches. The only driver separated from anybody is Chris Simard. Simard, however, chasing these leaders down faster than the top 3 the last 2 times by. In fact, you can see it on screen here. I'm going to go ahead and roll out to the blimp. You can see the runs that he's making as he's catching here. You see Simard trying to make a move on Davis coming into the corner. Ronnie Osmer down to the yellow line as well. Simard, great run, and you can see him closing on Ronnie Osmer right here coming into turn number 3. Butch Davis crossover on Simard. Davis to the point out of turn number 3. Onto Simpson. Simard he's slowly creeping up there, folks. I think we'll see him battling Ronnie Osmer for 3rd here shortly. Excellent view right here from the SRM blimp. Watching this battle for 6th between Jeffrey Roulette, Yari Brewpatcher, and Dan Brasington. Battle for 5th. Dan Brasington has the position. Roulette and Brewpatcher won it. A little further back, you have Dale Weiser. He's leading Kevin O'Brien and Shane Loveridge. Only the top 10 are on the lead lap. Mark McFadden, 11th, is in the lucky dog position. Michael Bourne a little bit further back behind him. He's two laps further down than Mark McFadden. Sam Cooper Bennett several laps down of the field. 12th on back, multiple drivers are laps down. Everybody else has seen damage from this race. So 10 drivers on the lead lap. Got ourselves a race. Chris Samard has snuck into the picture just as we expected. Still a few car lengths back, but as long as Davis and Simpson keep running side by side and potentially holding up Ronnie Osmer, this whole field's going to catch up to everybody, as I'm showing that Shane Loveridge had trouble, and we are under caution once more. Following Shane Loveridge, turn 2. Gets on the throttle maybe a little bit too soon. I imagine that they have to lift a little bit now as these runs go on. Just hits that outside wall, and that's going to ruin the race car, the number 72 of Shane Loveridge. And that's what brought out the 5th caution of tonight's race. I expect to see these drivers come down pit road, likely for at least 2 tires. I would imagine 4 after seeing what happened right there. I can't imagine that these drivers are not feeling the effects of worn tires. It looks like every driver is going to come down pit road, led by Butch Davis, Chad Simpson, Osmer, Samard, and Brasington. Only thing left to find out is who's going to make a move here. Is Brasington going to take fuel only? Would Simpson take fuel only? I don't expect it, considering Davis and Simpson have been lockstep this entire race, but maybe someone further from the back, as McFadden's coming around lucky dog to get his lap back. Should put... Well, that should still only be 10 cars on the lead lap, because Shane Loveridge is going to lose a lap due to the damage on his machine. Here come the drivers. It looks like Butch Davis is going to win the race off pit road. Simpson second, Jeffrey Roulette third. Jeffrey Roulette, something a little different, had a 2-second faster pit stop than everybody else at a 6.10. Possibly only took 2 tires for Jeffrey Roulette. Pit stops are complete. Expect the pace car lights to go out momentarily, or when we cross the line, signifying only one more lap to go before we get back under green. Should be going green coming to lap 53, nearly halfway, not quite there yet. A lot still to happen here at Pocono for the Sim Racers Edge Alpha Series. Michael Bourne coming down pit road once more, I imagine, to try to repair a little more damage from earlier incidents. Let's go ahead and take a brief moment to take a look at the current point standings coming into this race. Chad Simpson, who's battling for the lead, top of the standings with 309 points. Chris Samard, number 77 VSM racing driver, at 281, kind of trying to get closer, but Samard definitely needs to finish in front of Simpson if he's going to try to cover the ground there. Butch Davis in third with 250 points, challenging for the lead. What a great day it would be for him if he manages to win this one. Michael Sturgill, 4th. Unfortunately, he has had trouble. Jeffrey Roulette, nearest contender for him for the 4th place position, back only by 1 point. I expect Jeffrey Roulette, as long as nothing happens to him, will take over 4th. Appears that the pace car lights are out. That means we're getting ready to go back under green, coming to lap 53. Butch Davis is going to be the point man for this restart. Coming out of turn number 3, the pace car is going to make the darting left turn. 10 drivers on the lead lap. Back under green. Let's go racing one more time. Butch Davis on the throttle. A large gap for Simpson back to Roulette. It's almost like Roulette laid back a little bit right here, potentially trying to get into the draft. Simpson makes a move to the inside of Butch Davis. Gonna clear Butch Davis in the turn number 1. Butch Davis makes a left turn down to the yellow line. Huge run for Butch Davis coming into turn number 2. Right behind them, Ronnie Osmer making a move on Jeffrey Roulette. Side by side, row 1. Side by side, row 2. Coming in through turn number 2. Butch Davis to the point. We're going to watch Simpson. I thought he was going to do the crossover, but instead Simpson looks to the high side, perhaps looking to get the best run out of turn number 3 that he can to try to catch Butch Davis into turn number 1. Here we go, crossover move for Simpson, side by side into turn 1. Jeffrey Roulette doing the same thing for the 3rd position, side by side with Ronnie Osmer into turn 1. Osmer, great run off from turn 1. He's going to defend the position coming to turn number 2. Butch Davis once again battling for the lead. We can just assume these guys are going to be back and forth every other corner for the lead right now. I couldn't even begin to tell you how many lead changes there has been. Ronnie Osmer now building a little bit of distance between him and Jeffrey Roulette, about 10 cars. Roulette now has Dan Brasington and Simard to deal with. Brasington gets right around Roulette. Makes it look simple. Simard to the inside of Roulette. You know what? That's starting to tell me that perhaps he definitely only did take 2 tires. Jeffrey Roulette falling back rather quickly here 3 laps after the drop of the green flag. Fantastic battle for the lead. Simpson once again looking to the inside. Jeffrey Roulette now falling back to 7th. 2 tires are fuel only, not working for Jeffrey Roulette right here. Perhaps he's saving tires for the end. Unfortunately, I'm not really sure of the tire rule as of yet. Tony would know the rule, but Tony, again, he is out tonight for having surgery today. Tony, if you are watching this show, hey Tony, hope you're feeling better. Hope to talk to you on air soon. I want to thank the drivers of Sim Racers Edge for putting on a fantastic show here at Pocono. Without these drivers putting on this show, this would be a much more difficult race to call. As you see, 11th of Leverage is 3 laps down. Only 10 cars on the lead lap right now. Multiple cars a lap down. We started the field with 19. Chris Walker was off track rather early. Huge impact. He's been on pit lane for 55 minutes now, 33 seconds. Perhaps they'll be able to fix his car. Maybe he'll be able to turn a few more laps. He can probably pick up one, maybe. If he's back out on track in the next 5 minutes, I imagine he can pick up at least to 15th. So we're going to keep an eye out on that. He's still in the session. That tells me he's waiting to get back out on track. Ronnie Osmer, Dan Brasington potentially entering this battle for the lead. Likely to have another 4-car battle for the first place position as Ronnie Osmer gets a great run in the wake of Butch Davis right here. Davis looking for the crossover move. No, Davis is going to take the high side looking for the run out of this corner. Turns it low, staying in the draft. Coming into the front stretch. Here he goes, crossover move as Dan Brasington looking to the inside of Ronnie Osmer as well. Simard in 5th, liking everything he's seeing, knowing that he is catching the top 4 in front of him as they continue to battle. Butch Davis to the lead, Simpson with a huge run off turn 1. Ronnie Osmer manages to defend 3rd from Dan Brasington. However, Ronnie Osmer getting a great run. Here comes Brasington as well. You could throw a blanket under the top 4 out of turn number 2. Coming into turn number 3, does Ronnie Osmer have anything for these leaders? Butch Davis down to the yellow line. Osmer down to the yellow line. Simpson and Brasington run the higher line. Davis still to the lead here. Simpson looking for the crossover move. Here comes Ronnie Osmer. Osmer in the wake of Butch Davis. Butch Davis and Osmer both running the high lane, looking for the draft and the speed coming out of turn number 1. Will Butch Davis get the run needed to turn left down below Simpson? He will. Ronnie Osmer creeping ever closer. Brasington there. Simard there. Less than a second separates the top 5. Butch Davis dives to the inside of Simpson out of turn number 3. Simpson crossover move once again coming to lap 63. Side by side coming into turn number 1. Brasington following suit to Osmer. Osmer following Butch Davis. Brasington looks to the inside of Osmer. Simpson still running his own line, trying to pick up a little speed on these guys. Simpson, Davis, Osmer, Brasington. Don't forget about Simard. A little bit further back, 6th place, Yari Brewpatcher. He is almost 4 seconds back from the lead. Kevin O'Brien right behind him. Jeffrey Roulette's fallen back to 8th, nearly 5 seconds from the leader. Dale Weiser is 9th. Mark McFadden, who got back on the lead lap in that gorgeous hot pink and black, maybe that's more of a magenta machine, rounds out the top 10. Shane Loveridge back on track, about 4 laps down, 3 or 4 laps down. Michael Bourne on track, 5 laps down. The top 12 drivers are on track currently. No other drivers on track at this time. Simpson back to the lead. Osmer still holding P3. Davis crossover move coming into turn number 3. Brasington sends it real hard into turn 3. Has to lift, maybe get on the brake. Might have hurt his momentum just a bit. Trying to follow the draft here of Ronnie Osmer down the front stretch. Brasington getting closer. Is he going to dive to the inside of Osmer? No, he's going to stay in the wake. Now he turns down to the inside of Osmer. Huge run for Brasington as he chases it up the wall, closes the gap, getting ready to come into the high-speed turn number 2. Butch Davis turning left. Here comes Brasington. Brasington chooses the high side, likely setting Osmer up for a turn 3 pass. Single file, but a blanket for all 3 of these drivers. Osmer just looking for an opening from the front 2. Osmer within 2 car lengths of Butch Davis. Drives in a little bit hard. Great drive off for Butch Davis. Not as good for Simpson or Osmer. Side by side coming to turn number 1. Lap 65 of 120 is underway. Just past halfway now. Davis holds the position. Simpson doesn't quite have the turn 1 that he wants, but the draft is brutal if you're the lead car, because here comes Simpson once again. He's going to pass Davis coming into turn number 2. Osmer comes down to the yellow line to defend against Brasington. Simard just watching everything in front of him, soaking everything up, trying to figure out how he can get around the top 4. Davis to the yellow line, slides in front of Simpson. Simpson with the crossover. Slides behind Davis, picks up a little bit of the draft. Now side by side again. This is becoming very familiar. Lap in, lap out. Osmer runs the high lane, nearly 3 wide as Chris Simard is there. Battle for 3rd. New driver enters the chat. Number 77, Simard, is right there as well. When is Brasington going to make the move? He's going to be under siege from Simard quickly. One wrong move. Brasington back to 5th. Butch Davis, Simpson. This battle's never going to end between these two drivers. Excellent racing. Plenty of give and take. A lot more take, but these drivers respect each other, and you can see it right now on the track. Less than a quarter of a car separating the two when they decide to pull out on the other. Butch Davis going to pass Simpson in turn number 1. Ronnie Osmer looks to the very high side, trying to get a great run off of turn number 1. Let's see if he does. Simard working on Brasington. We might see Simard try to make a pass here in the turn number 2. Not yet. Doesn't think he's quite there. Right down to the yellow line. What about turn number 3? Simard, Brasington, battle for 4th. Brasington goes high. Simard comes down to the yellow line, closes the gap a little bit more. Ends up having to lift a little bit. Brasington gets a much better run off turn number 3. Advantage Brasington by 4 cars. Osmer following suit with the 2 leaders. Osmer goes to the high side. Simard once again takes it down to the extreme low yellow line through turn number 1. A blanket still for the top 5. Yari Brewpatcher all by himself in 6th. Kevin O'Brien, Jeffrey Roulette in a battle for the 7th position. All drivers were last on pit road 18 laps ago for lap 50. Once again, battle for the lead. Nothing seems to change. Yes, Simard changes right here. Simard to the inside of Brasington. Advantage Simard. Who's going to get the better run off turn number 1? Simard's going to slide up in front of Brasington. Brasington going to attempt the crossover. No, he's not going to make a crossover move right away. Here we go into the fast turn number 2. Simard closes the door. Brasington follows suit. Simard now up to 4th. Sorry folks, had to catch my breath there for a brief moment. Ronnie Osmer still 3rd. Brasington got back around Simard while I was taking a quick breather. Coming to lap 71 of 120. 2/3 finished with this race. Running time now about an hour and I would say 15 minutes. Sounds about right. Dale Weiser down pit road, pitting from, I believe, the 9th place position. Shane Leveridge came down pit road as well. Dare I say pit stops are going to soon begin. What driver from the front is going to make the move? Mark McFadden is down pit road. Here come the leaders side by side. Could one of them box the other in and make it to where he can't come down pit road? Not this time for the top 5. Butch Davis back to the inside of Simpson. Osmer, Brasington, Simard, single file coming into turn 1. All 3 following the 2 leaders. Weiser coming out of pit road, just lapped by the top 4. Looks like a 4-tire stop for Dale Weiser. Ronnie Osmer under possible siege from Dan Brasington. Brasington does not have the run that we expected. Simard with another good run. Brasington sends it in very hard into turn number 3. Osmer sends it in a little bit too hard. Both drivers have to check up. The gap from the top 2 to 3rd, 4th, and 5th gets a little bit wider. Simard now making a move on Brasington. Simard to the inside. Simard looking for a twofer. Will he be able to slide up in front of Osmer? Negative. He will not. Comes out of turn number 1 side by side with Brasington. Ends up falling back in suit. Remains in 5th place. Side by side turn 2 for the lead. Nothing seems to change. Advantage Butch Davis out of the lead. We know Simpson's going to make the crossover move right here coming into turn number 3. Butch Davis is going to get the better run out of turn number 3. Crossover is going to happen once again on the front stretch unless these two drivers come down pit road. Not coming down pit road. It's almost like I predicted this. Here comes Butch Davis back to the inside. Inside for turn number 1. Clears Simpson into turn number 1. But Simpson has the high lane. We know the crossover into turn number 2 is going to come next. That means Simpson's going to take the lead, except there's a lapped car. A gray lapped car. I do not quite certain who that is. I do not have a good view of the number. I believe that's Yari Brewpatcher in the way. Butch Davis. Here comes Osmer getting around Chad Simpson. I'm assuming the lapped car played a factor. Coming to lap 75. Never mind. Butch Davis and Simpson both come down pit road. Butch Davis really locks up the tires. Osmer stays out on track. Dan Brasington right behind him. Chris Samard there as well. Osmer takes the lead. Davis and Simpson seem to be working the same pit strategy. What an excellent race. These two guys just can't get away from each other. Just excellent. Will Osmer come down pit road this time? Will Osmer decide to stay out? Coming out of turn number 3, what will the 3 leaders do? All 3 stay on track. Butch Davis and Simpson now back on track. Butch Davis with about a 10-car lead over Simpson. This could have implications later down the line as long as there's not a caution. Roulette, Kevin O'Brien down pit road. Pit cycles well underway now. When will the 3 leaders come down pit road? Could it be this time by? Will Ronnie Osmer vacate the lead? He will not. But here comes Samard and Brasington. Osmer stays out front. Samard and Brasington come down pit road at this time. Only driver not to pit yet, Ronnie Osmer. Ronnie Osmer maintains the lead, looking to lead a couple laps. Butch Davis back to 4th, still has about a 10-car advantage to Chad Simpson. Brasington in his pit box. Samard gets into his pit box clean. Ronnie Osmer out of turn number 2, following in the draft of Yari Brewpatcher. Coming into turn number 3, Osmer down to the yellow line, coming to pit lane now. Ronnie Osmer vacates the lead as Butch Davis way far away, second place driver right here. He's coming into turn 2. Could Osmer potentially beat him? So there's a driver. There's number 43 machine. Ronnie Osmer's right here. So Osmer's the number 55. He's at the end of pit road. Here comes Butch Davis out of turn 3. Osmer's going to get well in the throttle here. Here comes Butch Davis. Butch Davis, Osmer. Butch Davis is already up to speed into turn number 1. Chad Simpson a little bit further behind him. Ronnie Osmer is going to jump Chad Simpson for P2. This could be a tight battle here momentarily. Osmer, Simpson, side by side. Lap cars in front of them. Osmer comes to the high side right behind Simpson. Will Osmer try to make a move on Simpson coming into turn number 3? Samard in this battle. Brasington a little bit further back. Butch Davis with a 2-second lead over the battle for second. Ronnie Osmer looking to the inside of Simpson. Will Osmer clear him? He will clear him. Will Simpson do what we've seen before? Get a huge run off of turn number 1 and look to cross over into turn number 2. He sure does. Side by side coming into turn number 2. No longer side by side. Simpson to the lead. What about Osmer? Will he get the run out of turn number 2 and do the crossover into 3? Will he stay high? He will stay high. He's looking for the crossover out of turn 3. Osmer looking for the run. Here it is. He turns to the inside of Simpson as well, just like we watched Butch Davis and Simpson the first 75 laps of this race. Now on lap 80, 40 laps remaining here at Pocono Raceway, Sim Racers Edge Alpha Series. Folks, I'm going to step away for a moment. It looks like we're going to have a lot of green flag racing. I'm going to turn it up for you guys. I will be back momentarily. Keep enjoying the show. It's been a great one. Alright folks, back with you now. Notable change before I left. That lead that Butch Davis had almost 2 seconds over Simpson Osmer has now been cut down to a 10th. Osmer right on the bumper of Butch Davis. Osmer looking to make a move now to the inside. Osmer to the point, lap 92 of 120. Butch Davis, huge run. Something happened to Osmer. Butch Davis with a huge run. Osmer losing positions left and right. What happened here? He just gave up multiple positions. Went from battling for first all the way back to 5th. Now back to the Simpson-Davis game. Simard been slowly working his way up. Remember, Simard second in the standings, if I remember correctly. Going to go ahead and put them up on screen briefly. Yep, Simard is second in the standings. Excellent racing between the top 4, as has the whole race been. Coming to lap 94, Davis leads Simpson. Simard in the wake. Brasington's there. Ronnie Osmer, after oddly falling back to 5th, still a part of this battle. Back to the normalcy. Davis, Simpson, Davis, Simpson. As you see that little dip right there coming into the corner, that dip is problematic coming into turn number 1 at times. Davis now looking back, looking into the inside of Simpson. Simard and Osmer battling. Osmer back up to 3rd, almost like he maybe potentially dropped back, and don't mind me just cracking a cold one for this amazing show. But it looks like Osmer maybe dropped back to potentially cool his tires off. Just so some of y'all know, when these tires get hot and sticky, they don't grip as well, or hot and slick, I should say. They're not as sticky, but when you cool them back off, they're not quite as good as new, but they perform significantly better if you cool the tires off. So 3-way battle for the lead. Davis, Simpson, Osmer. Simpson and Davis have been class of the field, but Osmer might have found something here at 26 laps to go. A lot can still happen. McFadden coming out of pit road now. I'm showing, let's see here, 9 cars on the lead lap. Kevin O'Brien, the final car on the lead lap, running kind of by himself back here. You saw McFadden just to his inside. What a great shot of the 3 leaders. All 3 taking different lines through turn number 1. Osmer went high, Simpson low, Davis held the middle. Davis and Simpson side by side. Osmer lockstep right behind Simpson. .24 laps remaining now. This battle just keeps on cooking. 5 drivers with an opportunity to win it. Davis out front. Osmer looking to make a move. Simpson back to 3rd. Simard and Simpson could be battling for the 3rd place position. Simard really needs to be in front of Simpson in this race. He wants to close the gap, close the points lead gap right now that Simpson has over him. Davis down pit road, undercut, locks up the front tires. Hopefully doesn't get caught for speeding. This could be huge. Will he take multiple tires, or if this will be a fuel-only stop? I can't imagine that these top 3 are going to stay out for much longer. If any of them do, it would be Osmer, who we saw stay out the longest last time. He stayed out for a full 3 laps longer than everybody else. Can he possibly make it to the end? We're going to find out. Davis still on pit road. Looks like he's taking tires. He did take tires. They dropped the jack. on the throttle for Davis. Coming out of turn number 3. Will these leaders come down pit road? Here comes Simpson. Here comes Brasington. Simard stays out. Osmer stays out. How long can these two drivers stay out? Do they have enough fuel to make it? I'm really not sure. We might find out. Simpson, Brasington, Roulette. The fact that Davis got on pit road first might be huge. We got to keep an eye out on where Davis is and where Simpson is. Davis coming out of turn number 3. Simpson just now leaving. There comes, that's Ludwig. There's Davis. Davis, Simpson. Simpson on the throttle hard, comes out right in front of Davis, but Davis already up to speed, stretches the distance, about 15 cars, 20 cars. Advantage Davis. Ronnie Osmer still out on track. Simard down pit road. How long will Osmer stay out? Butch Davis with a huge lead over Simpson now. Could this be the winning move for Butch Davis? Just happening to pit 1 lap earlier than Simpson. It's about 15 cars between the two. Osmer down pit road. Butch Davis is going to take over the lead. Kevin O'Brien right behind him. Kevin O'Brien still yet to pit. Simpson and Simard battling for the 4th place position. It will be a battle for 2nd or 3rd, depending how long Kevin O'Brien stays out on track. Osmer still in the pits, likely for about 3 more seconds. Where is everybody else going to be when he comes out? Osmer coming out. Davis on the front stretch. Davis is already up to speed. It's going to be close. Davis passes Osmer with ease. So does Simpson. So does Simard. Brasington right behind him. Osmer now 2.5 seconds back from the lead. Osmer's going to have about 2 to 3 lap fresher tires than the leaders. 20 laps remaining for Butch Davis. Butch Davis has about a 1 second lead over Simpson, but Simpson's going to have his hands full with Simard. Can they chase Butch Davis down in the final 20 laps? My gut tells me yes, but getting there and passing are obviously 2 different things. Butch Davis lead now a 10th shorter over Chad Simpson, but Simpson and Simard are lockstep about 5 car lengths apart. Lap traffic between them. Here's Brasington making a move on Simard. Dale Weiser in the 9th place position involved in this right here as well. Only 7 cars on the lead lap as O'Brien and Weiser are both a lap down. Weiser right in the middle of this battle for 2nd. Butch Davis has increased his lead now to 1.2 seconds over Chad Simpson, coming to 17 laps to go. Simard back to 5th. Osmer is making headway. Osmer is turning the fastest laps on track. Butch Davis ran a 42.27, significantly slower than his previous lap. Not really sure why. Perhaps he's trying to save tires, knowing these guys behind him will catch him, but passing will be a very different story. Simpson closes the gap to less than a third of a second. 0.2 of a second. Simpson under a blanket now with Butch Davis. Brasington half a second back. Simpson getting a huge draft off Butch Davis. Looks to the inside, coming to turn number 1. With ease, takes the position. However, we know the draft is key. Davis falls in the draft. Huge run for Davis. Going to cross over coming into the high-speed turn number 2. Side by side. Davis takes the position. What will Simpson do? Simpson turns left, follows suit. Looking for a great run. Likely to stay high. Looking for the crossover through turn number 1. Out of turn number 3. Davis has a better turn 3. Simpson not quite there. What will the draft do down the front stretch? Huge run for Simpson coming into turn number 1. The draft is just insane coming down this super long front stretch here. But Davis still on point by about a car length and a half. Run the same line out of turn 1. Stretch that lead now to about 4 cars. Possibly because Butch Davis has drafting help in front of him. And I believe that is Kevin O'Brien. It is Kevin O'Brien right in front of Butch Davis. In fact, this lapped car is Butch Davis's best friend right now. However, he's faster. He's going to have to dive to the inside. Simpson under siege from Brasington now. This is what Butch Davis needs. He needs Simpson and Brasington to continue to fight in order for Butch Davis to come out victorious here. 14 to go. And remember, folks, Butch Davis is 3rd in the championship standings, I believe at 251 points. Simpson with 309, and I believe Simard has 281. So Butch Davis has a lot to gain by winning this race tonight. A little farther back, Yari Brewpatcher running by himself. Jeffrey Roulette, Kevin O'Brien, 7th and 8th. Dale Weiser, 9th, running by himself. McFadden holding down the 10th place position. It appears that there are only 10 drivers on track at this time. The top 5 are all within 2 seconds of each other. Davis still out front. Davis comes down to the yellow line. Kevin O'Brien still amongst the leaders. Brasington did get around Simpson. Osmer now battling Chad Simpson. Could that bring Chris Simard into it? Could Simpson be fading? Osmer showing that he might have the most speed right now. Running almost 2/10 faster than all the other drivers in this top 5. 12 laps to go. Can Osmer get there? Osmer right behind Dan Brasington. If Osmer gets by Brasington, can he catch Butch Davis? Simpson now to the low side. Simard right behind him, passing Kevin O'Brien, who's in the 8th position to the outside. O'Brien doesn't quite have enough room to pull out of the way for these two drivers. All the way up by the wall. Simpson, Simard right behind O'Brien. They're going to split 3 wide, turn number 1. Simard turns low, follows Simpson around Kevin O'Brien. Huge run for Ronnie Osmer. You see the closing speed right there. Ronnie Osmer going to be looking at trying to get around Brasington here in the next couple laps. We're coming to 10 laps to go. This race is far from over. Simpson, Simard side by side on the front stretch. Davis stretches the gap just a smidgen, but we know Brasington's going to get a huge run. Here it is to the inside through turn number 1. Who is Osmer going to go with? Osmer stays high. Simpson and Simard side by side. Fanned out approach through turn number 1. Brasington did take the lead over from Davis, but Davis with an excellent run out of turn number 1 on the inside of Brasington for the high-speed turn number 2. Butch Davis right out to the wall. Brasington with a great run out of turn number 2. Thinks better than going to the inside. Here comes Osmer to the inside of Brasington. Both are going to slide up. Both have to turn hard to the left. That might have hurt a little bit of momentum. Butch Davis, one car lead over Brasington. Brasington looking to the inside, side by side once again through turn number 1. Osmer goes extremely high, nearly touching the wall. Butch Davis now in the middle. 3-car battle for the lead. Davis back to the point, coming into the high-speed turn number 2. Davis, Brasington, Osmer. Brasington, Davis, Osmer. What's next? Osmer, Davis, Brasington, Osmer, Brasington, Davis. Anything can happen. Coming to 8 laps to go out of turn number 3. Davis, great run. Under a blanket for these 3. Brasington uses the draft to his advantage. Osmer looking to make it 3 wide, coming to turn number 1. 3 wide. Here we go. Will it stick? Osmer trying to get a twofer. Side by side with Davis and Brasington. Davis helps Brasington to the high side. Osmer has to fall back to 3rd. Davis now looking to the inside of Brasington. What will Osmer do? He stays to the high side. Never mind. He looks to split. Follows Davis side by side with Brasington. Little bobble to the left, trying to stay out of Brasington. Butch Davis to the low line. Brasington, Osmer run the middle groove up. Davis using all the corner for everything that he's worth. 7 laps remaining here at Pocono. Brasington back to the lead. Osmer runs the extreme high line. Don't look now. Samard trying to get back into the picture. Samard's ahead of Simpson. Great point implications for Samard and Butch Davis both if this race ends the way it is right here. Nearly touching between Butch Davis and Brasington. A lot of respect between these drivers. You see it. Everybody gives it just enough room. They race each other hard. Brasington looks to the high side. Osmer goes even higher. Down to the yellow line for Davis. Out of turn number 3. Single file. Will Brasington get a run? As always, he sure does. Side by side by the last third of the front stretch. Davis is going to turn down low. Touch that. Correction. Brasington goes low. Tries to touch the yellow line. Doesn't quite get there. Davis back to the middle. Who's going to get the best run? Will Osmer stop Davis's run to the inside? He will not. Osmer will try to follow Davis. Osmer going to look into the inside of Davis. Davis shuts the door. Osmer now side by side with Brasington. Osmer going to lose multiple positions. Osmer back to 4th. Samard up to 3rd. Davis, Brasington, Samard, Osmer. I told you folks, things just keep changing. A little bit of a gap now. 2-car gap between Davis and Brasington. Can Brasington get a run? He will get a run right coming into turn number 3. Osmer all over the back bumper of Samard. Osmer runs that extreme high line. Samard goes to the yellow line. Davis, huge run. Very sharp move to the inside of Brasington right here. I predict about another 50 lead changes before this race is over. Turn 2, high-speed turn. Samard into the wall. Samard loses a lot of momentum. Samard back to 5th. Simpson gets by him. Samard still in the wall. Samard real slow now. Oh man, what a race that he had going on. Samard coming down pit road. Not what he needed. However, the race still goes on. 4 laps remaining. Butch Davis, Brasington, Osmer, Simpson. The battle is between the top 3. Can Simpson get there? Brasington looks to the inside of Davis. Well, Osmer looks to the inside of Davis. Davis shuts the door. Doesn't have a choice. Well, Osmer look now. Davis doesn't allow Osmer to the inside. Osmer goes to the inside. Davis to the inside. Osmer the high lane out of turn number 3. Davis uses the whole turn once again. Osmer, Brasington, Davis, 3rd to 1st. Brasington looks slow. Osmer looks slow. Brasington blocks. Osmer follows Brasington. Osmer back to the high side. Davis to the middle groove. Butch Davis looking for the run out of turn number 1. He's going to have it. Huge dart right there. But a wiggle. 3 wide. Osmer cuts Brasington off. Going to be Brasington and Davis side by side, turn number 2. Think better of it. Osmer to the point now. Davis to the inside of Osmer, coming to 2 laps to go. Tony, I hope you're watching this race because, by God, it is amazing. Osmer looking for the crossover move on Davis. No shortness of excitement. Popsicle sticks in the air. side by side to turn number 1. Coming up on a lapped car, I believe that's going to be Dale Weiser. Yes, it is. Dale Weiser's going to have something to say about this race. Davis, great run out of turn number 1. Osmer falls back a little bit, has to contend with Brasington. Brasington takes P2 away. Osmer back to third. Davis using the draft from Dale Weiser. Can that keep him in the lead? Weiser just smartly pulls to the inside. He's going to let these leaders battle it out. Brasington looks to the inside of Davis. Brasington sends it in there. Will he slide up in front of Davis? He does not. Davis side by side with Brasington. Osmer makes it 3 wide. Final lap. White flag. Who's it going to be? Davis is in the high side. Osmer's going to slide up in front of Brasington. Davis has to run the extreme high side. Brasington, Osmer side by side. Who's going to have the run out of turn number 1? Osmer to the front. Here comes Davis. What's Davis going to do? Davis looks to the inside, the high-speed corner. What about Brasington? Remember the crossover move. That's going to be the thing. However, the crossover doesn't work out of turn 1 until past the checkered flag. Davis, Osmer looking to the high side. Davis puts the block. Brasington's there. Davis can't run the high lane. Excuse me. Brasington can't run the high lane. Davis to the front. Can anybody catch him? Checkered flag. Davis. My, oh my. What a race. Davis, Brasington, Osmer, Simpson, they must have traded the lead about 55 times in the last 20 laps. I cannot thank these drivers enough. What an outstanding show. I was almost dreading coming to call this race tonight, and my God, I am glad that I was here. Genuinely ecstatic for how this race ended. We're going to talk to the top 3 after the end of the race. Davis, Brasington, and Osmer. Butch Davis, well deserved. No matter who won this race, it was going to be well fought, hard fought, and well deserved. Butch Davis victorious, the right blocks at the right times. Helped that he was battling from the lead, and everybody else had to make up the room. Give me just a couple moments. I'm going to be pulling these drivers in. I'll be looking for Ronnie Osmer first. In the booth now with me, I've got Ronnie Osmer, driver of the number 55, who finishes third. Ronnie, what an insane last, really 30 laps for this race. Tell me through the eyes of you how that went. I mean, you came all the way from 5th, got to the lead, back to 3rd, back to 4th, back to 2nd. Tell me how this race went for you, this last 25 laps.
It was a really, really fun race. And importantly, good clean racing as well. It was just, we were playing a fuel strategy game against Butch and Chad with me and Chris, and we were going with the plan to run longer, and so we could push more at the end. So when we reached that last 25 laps after the pit stop, there was no fuel saving, all go, and was doing everything I could to get past all the guys, and I made the wrong move in the last corner. That's all I can do.
Well, I mean, I don't want to say you just made I guess you could have made the wrong move, but the right move, you and Brasington could have been tied up, and that could have been just even worse for you guys. And honestly, I think what hurt you and Brasington was the fact that it was all 3 of you guys clustered right there, and y'all were kind of stealing from each other's lines. But what a just crazy race. Another question for you. I'm not familiar with these cars on Pocono. Are you able to run mostly wide open? I assume a little bit of lifting into turn 3, maybe a little bit turn 2?
With the setup they built for this race, if you were by yourself, you'd go flat out around the whole track. But when you were in dirty air, as long as you weren't behind someone, you had to lift. If you were behind someone, you had to lift in all 3 corners. But if you had that clean air, why so many people were trying to run the top, because that's where the clean air was, and you could still keep it flat out.
All right, well, that's good information. Ronnie, now that Pocono is over, what are your thoughts looking forward to next week? I believe it's going to be Atlanta for 160 laps, which is going to be another super fast, I imagine, back and forth race.
Yeah, Atlanta's a really fun race. I love running Atlanta in any car. It's especially fun with these cars because you got that sense of danger and speed, and with where the grip and clean air is going to be, you're going to be ripping the fence in these cars, which is that fun of danger and having a good time.
Gosh, man, I got to be honest, tonight was a good time for me too in the booth. I mean, I like to be racing, but this might have been one of the most fun events I've ever called, and I had to do it solo because Tony was out tonight. Thank you for putting on a great show. You drove excellent. Um, P3, not P1, but what a great job. Do you have anybody you want to thank? Any shout outs before I send you back to your team room?
Shout out to all my guys on VSM. Shout out to Sam, make his return to league racing tonight. Uh, our motorsports, the NASCAR team I work for, Rocket Racing Setups, PH Aware, and you guys for broadcasting and everyone watching.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Ronnie Osmer. Finishes P3, a little short of what he wanted. Have a great night, Ronnie. Thanks for the interview.
Thank you.
All right, folks. So that was Ronnie Osmer. Give me a couple moments here, and I'm going to pull in Dan Brasington. Now on air with me, driver the number 29, second place finish, Dan Brasington. What a race, Dan. You were from 5th to 1st, 2nd, pit stops as far back as 9th. The last 25 laps were insane. I know you just told me you're like still shaking from this one. Try to walk me through the last 25 laps. Tell me what you really needed maybe to win.
Well, right there towards the end, the air was just the turbulence coming off the cars was pretty bad, and it was more or less a chess game of just picking which line you needed to go through to get as much clean air on the nose as you could. And I was getting a better run off the top side, so I was trying to stay up there as much as possible. And I have no idea how I pulled what I did off, but second place is good for me. That track owes me. Or season 2, I had some computer issues, and I had a pretty good chance of winning or getting a podium there too. And this is kind of a little bit of revenge on Pocono for that.
I would say this was solid revenge. I mean, and you were right there. And really, so what I told Ronnie, I think what hurt you and Ronnie the most, second and third, was the fact that all three of you guys were together. And like you said, it was pick the right line. But you had to pick the right line 5 laps ago based on how the draft and the dirty air worked because everybody can just keep crossing over everybody. And I noticed how you guys thought about going inside and turn 2, but if you went inside turn 2, you may not be able to take the outside of turn 3, which sets you up better down the straight. And it's just back and forth, like you said, picking the right line. Just so much fun. Never a dull moment, except for when I had to take a breath. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to talk at the end of this one.
Yeah, it's a high speed game of chess. I mean, you got to be two moves ahead of the guy in front of you at all times, and you only got maybe a half a second to make a decision, especially like when an accident happens in front of you or something like that. So it's it can get pretty crazy, and I think we proved that tonight.
Absolutely, I had a blast. Well, Dan, looking forward to next week. It's going to be Atlanta for 160 laps, a little bit shorter of a track, one less corner. Well, I guess actually one more corner, kind of, sort of. But um, what are your thoughts moving into next week? It's going to be another high speed. I bet we're going to see a lot of the same thing happening.
Atlanta's been a good track for us as a whole with the league. It's put on some pretty good racing, so I would expect to see pretty much what you've seen tonight, just with an extra corner. So that'll add to the drama a little bit, but um, we'll get the setup dialed in and everything, and get the practices going and stuff, so the guys can get out there and run it, and hopefully we can put on a good show like we put on tonight.
Well, I'm absolutely looking forward to it. For next Wednesday, Tony will be back in the booth with me, and after tonight, I am ready. I want to get back for that one. Do you have anybody you want to thank? Any shout-outs, family members, friends, anyone before I send you back to your team?
I know my father-in-law's watching. Alan, I almost had it. We'll get one, I promise you. I want to thank all the guys that show up here every week and help us put on this. If it wasn't for those guys, the drivers, the ones that show up for the races, the one that help us build the setups and stuff, we wouldn't be here. So big shout out to everybody in Sim Racers Edge. Turn Racing, Raise Energy, Inside Sim Racing, those guys are sponsoring us. We appreciate that. And thanks to y'all for putting on a hell of a broadcast week in and week out. We appreciate that. And hopefully we can give you the same excitement we gave you this week, next week.
I sure am looking forward to it. Congrats on P2. A little redemption for you here at Pocono. Have a great night, Dan.
Take it easy.
All right, so that was our second place finisher, Dan Brasington. Easily could have been first, or easily could have been third with the way the last few laps were going. In a couple moments, I'm going to bring Butch Davis in, tonight's race winner. Joining me in the booth now, race winner, driver the number 43, Butch Davis. Butch was class of the field with Chad Simpson all night long. You two were back and forth literally every corner, and then you were back and forth with Brasington and Ronnie the last 20 laps. Just go ahead and walk us through the entire race and tell me, how many laps ahead did you feel like you have to set the other drivers up in order to make the pass where you want to make the pass?
It was what a crazy race. I am worn out. I'm out of breath and just, man, it was just so crazy. The thing is the way that the setup worked with this car is you just got such a good run on corner exit if you weren't on the same line as the other car. And you could just basically get the run and boom into the next corner. I've raced with Chad for years, obviously my teammate, so we trust each other. There's some communication there for us to go back and forth. But, you know, when Brasington got up there and Osmer and you know, earlier with Roulette even, you know, kind of Roulette's also a teammate. But there's a trust factor there. And, you know, the guys, you know, they held their lines and everybody raced hard, raced clean. But, man, it was intense. Holy crap.
Yeah, speaking to you just a moment before we went back to live, this is one of my favorite races I've ever called. I'm not as much of a fan of these things on the road courses because I'm still learning them, but at a track that I know what to expect, basically no matter what car you're in, just so much fun calling the race. Never a dull moment except for when I had to rest my breath trying to call this thing. I really hope Tony was watching. He had surgery today, and so I had to call this one solo, but just a lot of fun. Butch, I got one more question for you. So it seemed like out front was where you wanted to be, but the draft, it seemed like it would bring everybody right to you, but as soon as the car got to the inside of you and now, or past you, and now you were the front place car, it's like you hit that brick wall with the air again. But yet I know that there is turbulent air at the same time. But tell me, what was the better place to be in the battle, first or second, trying to work the draft?
I mean, from my point of view, I would rather be the leader. I think when you're the leader, you can kind of dictate the line of the car that's behind you, or the cars, plural, that's behind you. And that's what I tried to do. I killed it both pit stops under green, all of them actually. And that's why I was able to get out and have a nice little gap, couple seconds. I knew the guys would catch me, but it was who was going to catch me first, and then me dictating to them more or less what line they were going to run, that allowed me to kind of set it up to where when they passed me, it was only that one car that was going to pass me. I wasn't going to get freight trained. Like you said, working with the turbulent air and stuff like that, that is a major factor later in the run. So, working that air, trying to work it so you don't drop too far back, huge factor tonight.
I was watching a lot of that, and I mentioned watching you kind of dictate the lines. I see you take a slightly different line, just like not leave quite enough room on the inside, but you're also pushing up to the outside, so preventing drivers to get to your outside. And what I told Ronnie and what I told Dan is really bad for those two was the fact that there was all three of you guys there. If it was 1-2, I would say that it would have been an even deal, but the fact that it was all three of you there, I give you the advantage from being in the lead, because those two guys are taking lines away from each other, trying to get around you. Man, what an awesome show. That being
You're
said,
not wrong.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, you're not wrong. That's exactly what it was. The last lap, coming out of 2, I had gotten kind of a little bit of gap on both Ronnie and Dan, and I knew I needed to kind of go low to dictate, whoever it was that was going to catch me first, that they be up on the outside. Once I knew that car was moving up, I could slide up to the middle of the track more and make a better arc through the corner, keep my momentum up. But at the same time, I could kind of slide across their nose in the corner, giving them some dirty air, stalling their progress. And that's, really that's what helped me out on that last lap there and won it for me.
And you can listen to it on the show, how I mentioned watching over and over that I just knew if you were in the lead coming out of 3, you were going to win the race, because it was after the start-finish line when the driver in second was able to make the crossover and take the lead going into turn number 1. And so out of 3, when I watched you make that slide-up move, at that point I'm like, all right, this is Butch Davis's race unless something really strange happens. Great job. What a fun race. Congratulations. It's going to be good for you for points, especially considering Simpson and Simard both, Simpson finished P4 and Simard finished 10th, because unfortunately he had the wall battling with you guys a little bit earlier. But excuse me. That being said, who do you want to thank? Who do you need to talk to? Shout out anything before I send you back down?
Definitely want to thank all my teammates at FBR Motorsports, Chad, Jeffrey, Mikey Bourne, Larry Edmondson, Neil Messer. Thanks to Darren Ganji and Sim Motion. Thanks for the cool ass birthday present. Appreciate it, guys. Raise Energy, Turn Racing. Want to send a shout out to Amanda Moss, who's watching. Also want to thank you guys at ESPN and SRM. And, I don't normally say this, but thanks to my family for letting me do this stuff every week.
The family's a big one. Shout out to you. I admire that. I'm glad that you brought that up. Well, Butch, I'll be looking forward to next week for sure after this race. Going to Atlanta, I expect to see another insane back and forth style race. Good luck to you then, and we'll talk to you next time, hopefully if you're in good fortune.
Absolutely, man. Thanks, Jonathan. Appreciate it. Atlanta's going to be a barnstormer.
Sure will. Talk to you then. All right, folks, that was our top 3 after an amazing race at Pocono. Still shaking a little bit for myself. I have not had this much fun in the booth in a long time, and it was solo for me. I'm going to go ahead and bring up the race results right now. As we know, Butch Davis, who we just spoke to, is tonight's race winner. Excellent job for him. Dan Brasington comes home P2 after a tight battle with the leaders Ronnie Osmer and Butch Davis. Oh, so close, but just not quite there. Wasn't in the right spot coming into turn number 3. Really, you had to be in the lead coming into turn 3 to win this race, and Butch Davis, who had retained the lead, managed to do just that. Ronnie Osmer, 1st to 5th, 5th to 2nd, 2nd to 3rd, back to 1st, all over the place, had a really great opportunity to win this one. Chad Simpson, very, very fast early. A little bit of fading towards the end, but I wouldn't really call it fading. He finishes P4, should retain his points lead after this race moving forward. Another really fast driver. Jeffrey Roulette manages to finish 5th. Didn't have a great car, but had a good car. He was as far back as 9th at some points. So good job for you, Jeffrey. Kevin O'Brien manages to finish 6th. Great job for Kevin. Yari Brewpatcher 7th. Dale Weiser is 8th. Mark McFadden 9th. Chris Simard, not the night that he wanted. Excellent racing out of Simard. Drove really hard all night long. And with, I believe, about 5 laps to go in the wall, pretty much ruined his night. Finished 4 laps down. Michael Bourne comes home 11th, 43 laps down after some carnage and unfortunate events. Shane Leveridge got tied up in a wreck as well, 56 laps down in P12. Sam Cooper Bennett, old voice of ESPN, looking for a cameo one of these days. We'll see him up here, I'm sure. Finishes 13th at his return to sim racing. Raul Alvarez 14th with Ernie Ludwig 15th. Tim Bates 16th. Michael Sturgill Jr. 17th. 18th belongs to Dave Lodell. Chris Walker out early, 117 laps down, rounds out the field. Well, everybody, thank you so very much for being a part of ESPN, SRM, and the Sim Racers Edge Alpha Series. For Jonathan Leach, for Tony, who's not here, we had an excellent night. Looking forward to Atlanta next Wednesday. Hope to see you then. To all, have a great night.